Hello YouTube, Retro Nostalgia fan here. This is part 3 of my record trilogy video collection series for my 51 subscribers to show appreciation. And when I get to 100 subscribers in the future, I'm going to show my entire Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends VHS collection, including the brand new ones, just as a spoiler. But once I get to 100 subscribers. Otherwise, let's begin with part 3. Can't believe there's already 3 parts. No surprise, they're probably long videos. Anyway, we're going to start off with the Mick Jagger solo. This is actually a rare pressing. This is a promo first pressing of Primitive Cool. This is actually not a bad album. You know, I know a lot of people hate the 80s Rolling Stones stuff. I'm not going to lie. I only like 2 albums from the 80s. I like albums like, I love Tattoo You. That's probably their last amazing good album. And another one I really liked from the 80s, Steeler Wheeler, their last 80s album. I like side 1, but side 2, no. And I liked, I think Emotional Rescue's not too bad either. But that's about it. I don't care for their 80, I don't like Undercover or, Dirty Work. I'm not a big fan of those 2 albums. But, yeah. Anyway, this is a good 80s solo Mick Jagger album. This is his second album. And I'm going to show you what I mean, though. This is a promo, because actually, the Rolling Stones logo is black and white right there. And I heard this was really rare to find. Like, really rare. This is an American promo pressing. There's the inner sleeve with the lyrics. And here's what I mean. This is a promo pressing. It's on Columbia Records. Plain label. So yeah, let me know if that's worth anything in the comments or not. I've only listened to this album twice. I don't mind it. I might give it another listen, but I'm only keeping it because it's kind of a rare album. I'm not a big fan of 80s Rolling Stones either, other than like 2 or 3 albums, but 2 of the albums I really don't care for. Another solo album, but it's with Paul McCartney. It's Wings. This is a really good solo album. Venus and Mars. This is my second favorite McCartney solo album. Sadly, there's a skip on the first track, Venus and Mars, but the rest of the record plays great. And I love this album. This is an American 80s. This is an American 1980s pressing. It's from like 1985, I believe. It's a 1985 repress. Has a little gatefold. You can see there. And it's on yeah, it's on Columbia. So it probably is like a 1983. It's definitely an 80s pressing, but I don't know what year in particular. I'm going to say this is like maybe a 1982, 83 pressing. If you know about pressings, let me know. That's why I showed it. Alright, now we got some... Now, from here on out, you got Rolling Stones, Beach Boys, and the Beatles. I thought I had no Beach Boys, but it turns out I have a lot of Beach Boys. Yeah, and I'm the one who talks about Beach Boys, so probably have some Beach Boy albums. Anyway, more of Hot Rocks. Double LP. Original U.S. pressing. Another original U.S. pressing of Flowers, an American album, in excellent shape. It's an American stereo first pressing. It's in true stereo too, actually, on this album. I saw a German pressing on Decca in the UK that I want to buy. It's rare. It's an export pressing. We get a speaking of German pressing, here's a German pressing of Around and Around. This is like a 1970 pressing. It's not laminated. Original pressing is laminated. We get Rolling Stones, England's newest hitmakers. This is the American pressing. It's not an original. This is a I'm going to say like a late 60s, early 70s pressing on London Records. It's not an original, but this record actually plays really good. There's no skips. It's in excellent shape, and it has Not Fade Away instead of Mona or I Need You Baby. Yeah, this is fine. Great album. Blue London label. And then I got 2 more copies of the album too, actually. Let me show you. See if I have it. Curious where it is. Most of these are not in order, by the way, in case you were wondering. Most of them are not in order. And I'm just looking. Do have it. Where is it? There we go. Now I see them. I see some stones. Move those in the front. Alright, there we go. Alright. Here's a UK German pressing. This is the German pressing, actually, of the UK album. The only difference is Route 66 starts as the first track, and Mona is on here. There we go. There's Mona right there. First track. And it's a red Decca label. Box Decca label from 1970. And this jack is laminated. It's in really nice shape. And then I have one more copy of this album. I have another German pressing, ironically. I have it. There it is. Here's the 1975 German pressing with the alternate cover, and this one has a poster, but I don't have the actual poster. Like, this came with the poster back in 1975. Has a sticker right here from a original record shop it came from in Germany. This one's not as in good condition, but it does have some crackles and pops, but it's like in very good plus condition. Same label though, German pressing, as the second pressing. Here's a counterfeit pressing of Rolling Stones #2. It's not an original. It's a UK mono pressing, but it's a counterfeit because the jack is in mint shape. It's not laminated. Thick jacket, and it's on blue vinyl, which is really cool. It recreates it has the first pressing label though, which is really cool. What's interesting about this pressing of Rolling Stones #2 is that the label actually feels like an original, because I have seen copies of this album, but they go for like a shit ton of money. And I'm happy that this one actually doesn't sound too bad. The sound quality is not too bad. It doesn't disappoint. Alright, next up we got is Out of Our Heads. I'm going to show you quite a few copies of this album. I'm going to show you the American album, but however, I have a French pressing of this album. This translates to the golden years of the Rolling Stones. And this is Volume 4 Satisfaction. It's on Decca. It's on the black Decca label. And I'll show it to you, actually. I'll show it. It's laminated. It's a gatefold. And it talks about the history of the Rolling Stones during this session of the Out of Our Heads era, which is really cool. It's a little booklet. And in fact, it shows you other albums you could buy right below the track listing. Shows other albums right here you could buy, and on top of it is the track listing. The track listing is the US Out of Our Heads. Has Satisfaction, Last Time, Play with Fire, Spider and Fly, and it starts off with Mercy Mercy. I'm showing some of the pressings just because they're the most interesting ones to look at. Here's the record, black Decca label. Looks almost like an original UK stereo pressing, just black instead of blue. But this is probably from like 1971, I believe. Alright, they got 2 more copies of Out of Our Heads. They're both in stereo. This is a UK 1970 stereo second pressing. It's laminated. It's on the blue the blue box Decca label from 1970. This is an excellent near mint shape. Plays great. Here's a 2003 reissue. This one's digitally resourced. It's not the best sounding copy, but it's alright. It's not too bad, but it's still digital, which I don't like. It's the UK track listing, which this and that other copy I showed you is the UK version. It has the same cover as the American album December's Children, but it has this is the UK Out of Our Heads, and the track listing is different on this one. And what's interesting is the label. It shows photos from the band members. Correct me if I'm wrong. And those photos were actually on the back cover of the US Out of Our Heads, which is really cool. But yeah, this one plays great. It's in near mint shape. Now we get an Aftermath. I prefer the UK version over the US. This is a Dutch pressing. This one, what's interesting, it's actually laminated. The whole jacket is laminated. The front is laminated, the back is laminated, and the spines are laminated, which is awesome. So, I'm happy about that. This is a Dutch pressing. I don't know what, I think it's from the 70s, but it sounds really good. Big Hits, High Tide, Green Grass by the Rolling Stones. Fantastic album. This is the UK second pressing on Decca and stereo. And the US first pressing of Between the Buttons in stereo. It sounds pretty good. It's in very good plus condition. A 2019 reissue of the UK Through the Past Darkly, Big Hits Volume 2 in stereo. There is a mono pressing of it, but only first pressings. And then the last Stones album, Hot Rocks. This is in horrid condition, but it's my first ever Rolling Stones album. With the promo sticker on here, which is a first pressing, for sure. Alright, and finally, the Beetle albums I'm going to show you. These I'm going to probably go through the fastest, plus some Beach Boys. Introducing the Beatles, this is a counterfeit VJ pressing. It's not genuine. It's a counterfeit with Please Please Me and Ask Me Why instead of Love Me Do and P.S. I Love You. A 80s Capitol reissue of Hard Day's Night in stereo. Fake stereo. Actually, is it in stereo? Yeah, it is in stereo. It's fake stereo, though. The Beatles' second album in stereo. This is a late 70s Capitol reissue. Early 80s pressing. Here's a US 1966 mono Capitol pressing of the Beatles' second album. Meet the Beatles. This is a US 1974 or 75 pressing. And it has the piercing on the hole, which I don't like. Here's the back of it. First Capitol album. UK album. This is a UK 1976 pressing of Please Please Me in stereo. This would be the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. Yeah, this is the UK 10th pressing. Holy crap, 10 pressings. This is the UK 10th pressing from 1976 to 1980 with the laminated jacket on the front. No flipbacks, though. And it's from the original analog tapes. It's a 2-box Parlophone EMI label. Great pressing. Sounds really good, actually. Not as good as the German pressing, which I want to get. A US 75 pressing of Beatles Story in stereo. This one's not the best sounding. It's like in very good plus condition. A very good plus condition, Something New, the Beatles. Original first pressing or second pressing. A UK stereo 1969 one EMI box one EMI box Parlophone pressing from 1970 or 69 with the flipbacks, which is awesome. Small size stereo. This is in excellent shape. It plays flawless. It's the one EMI box label. I showed you that in my video. And my highlight of my Beatles collection, a UK mono first pressing of Hard Day's Night that plays flawless. It plays perfectly through. Very proud of owning this. It's the third and final variation of the first pressing, but still, it's awesome to own a first pressing. Whether it's the first or second or third variation. 1971 Apple American pressing of Beatles 6 in stereo. It's on the green Apple label. It's from 1971. A bootleg picture disc of the Beatles' hottest hits, which actually was a real album. And the story behind this is that this album actually is a really rare Danish compilation album. It actually was the first ever Beatles compilation album ever. It was released in April 1965. Very, very rare to find. If you find a genuine copy with the original sleeve, buy it. It's worth a lot of money. Or even a counterfeit. I've seen some counterfeits on the internet where it has the original jacket. Well, not the original, but like a recreation of the jacket and add the original pressing design, but it's on colored or even black vinyl. Very rare to find, but I do want to get a original mono pressing. And this never came out in stereo, only came out in mono. But this was an actual LP. This ain't just a fake LP. It actually was a real compilation album. First one ever, in fact, in the world. Oh, Beetle Compilations. Before a collection of Beatles oldies in the UK, or the red and blue album, which is the most iconic, or the Past Masters, that was the first, was Beatles' hottest hits. Even before Germany's Beatles' greatest hits, which came out in May or April '66. Speaking of April, this also came out in April of '65. The early Beatles, it's Please Please Me, basically. Butchered down, shorter version of Please Please Me. Beatles 65, this is an original first pressing, East Coast first pressing. Same with early Beatles, I should have mentioned. This is a UK mono first pressing of collection of Beatles oldies but goldies with the flip backs. This is in very good plus condition. I want to get an upgrade on this copy, but this is another gem I have in my collection that I'm proud of. Here's a UK stereo. This is a UK stereo. First pressing, second variation from 1967. Very proud of owning this too. This is another. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the one box pressing from 1969, 1970. Just like my Hard Day's Night. This is what the label looks like. Again, you've probably seen it in my other Beatles LP collection. But this is still a nice album in my collection. I want to get more original pressings in mono and stereo, including the Holy Grail UK mono and stereo first or second pressings of Please Please Me. Even the second pressing is worth a lot. Here's a US mono first pressing of Rubber Soul. I heard this is a lot of money going for mint shape. Here's a UK stereo 1 EMI box Parlophone pressing of Rubber Soul, just like my Hard Day's Night collection of Beatles oldies. Has the flip backs, and it's a one box. A US 1975 repress of Help, my first ever Beatles album I ever owned. It's in excellent shape. A UK early 2 EMI box 1971 pressing of Help. The seller said this was an excellent minus, but it was more like near mint minus. This thing played flawless, and I was impressed. This is the best sounding copy of Help I've ever heard in stereo. But yeah, this is a 1971 2 EMI box pressing with the gramophone company on the rim of the label. A 2014 mono reissue of Magical Mystery Tour, mono pressing. Sounds great with the booklet, but it's not intact. It broke. A 50th anniversary stereo mix of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. You've seen the gatefold probably in my other video. And then we're going to take a little break with Beatles and go to Beach Boys. This is Best of the Beach Boys Volume 1. US 1969 pressing on Starline. Or early 70s pressing. Best of the Beach Boys Volume 2. US pressing. From the 80s. Or like 1980 or 1979. A reprise album. Where it's just a reissue of Smiley Smile and Friends. Friends plays fantastic. There's like couple pops and hisses, but it plays mint otherwise. And then Smiley Smile is does not sound that good. For sound quality wise. Here's a Dutch pressing of Live in London. It has a boring nothing. It's laminated right here, but this is not. It's like a little gatefold. And what's interesting, it has an Odeon German sticker on there, which is really cool. It was pressed in Germany, but was released in the Netherlands. Also, there is a German pressing, but it has a completely different artwork. Here's a UK 1980 repress of Surf's Up by the Beach Boys. Love this album. Alright, another Beatles album. This is a UK first pressing of Beatles Rarities that came in from 1979. That came with the blue box set. Here's a music here's volume 2 of Rock and Roll Music. I want to get volume 1. This is a UK pressing on the budget label Music for Pleasure. Here's a 1983 Fame pressing, the very last pressing of Collection of Beatles Oldies in stereo. 80s repress, the last ever pressing of this album. It's in mint shape. Here's a counterfeit Japanese mono pressing of Yellow Submarine. It's on black vinyl. It's a counterfeit, but it is a Japanese counterfeit pressing. Alright, take a break from Beatles, back to Beach Boys. This is a Beach Boys Party. This is a UK second stereo pressing from 1967 with the flipbacks, which I love how they're orange. I love how the spine's orange. But it does not include the photos, sadly. Only the North American pressings did. And then Pet Sounds, my favorite album from the Beach Boys. Now, a little story. This is not a normal UK pressing. This is a UK pressing. The jacket is from a UK 1975 pressing, where it has the laminated front cover and the spine here. It's from the mid-late 70s. Without the flipbacks, it's a stereo jacket. But what's interesting, I got kind of scammed on it. It actually has a 50th anniversary mono US pressing. What is that doing inside of a UK jacket? I don't know. I got it for like $10 though. So, you know, to be fair, and it plays really good. At least it came in this. So it sounds really good. It's a mono pressing. And honestly, I like these UK jackets, how they're laminated. And you know, it wasn't until I realized that there's actually a better pressing than the UK originals of these Beach Boy albums. In particular, 14 albums were on Analog Productions, and I got some of those. Pet Sounds. This is an American Analog Production 2015 pressing. Oh my god, does this sound amazing? It's laminated. It plays perfect. This is the best sounding copy of Pet Sounds. Here's a stereo version of that, of the same LP from Analog Productions. A UK 1967 second pressing of Best of the Beach Boys Volume 1. Completely different track listing. I prefer the UK versions of the Best of the Beach Boys series over the US ones. UK version of Volume 2. This is a 1971 pressing. In stereo instead of mono. This one's another 71 stereo UK pressing of Volume 3. Completely different from the US version. A budget UK 74 pressing of All Summer Long. A 1975 US single sleeve version of Beach Boys Concert. A 2014 pressing of Christmas Album in mono. This is a great Christmas album. An Analog Productions stereo 2015 pressing of Beach Boys Today. Best sounding copy of this album ever. 2015 Analog Productions stereo pressing of Summer Days and Summer Nights. Again, Analog Productions. I'm trying to get all the Analog Production pressings before they go out of print. My first ever Beach Boys album is this UK stereo first pressing from 1966, which, yeah, I'm not kidding. This album came out in the UK a year after its original US release. Here's what a first pressing would look like. Best of the Beach Boys Volume 1 has this label, but Best of the Beach Boys Volume 2, every Beach Boys album from 1967 changed the label, and the second pressing looks more like the US pressing, with the sold in UK as an exception. Here's a Capitol reissue from 2016. It's not Analog Productions. It's in stereo, true stereo. Back on to Analog Productions, mono pressing of Lil Deuce Coupe. Stereo Analog Production pressing of Shutdown Volume 2. An American second pressing of All Summer Long. In mono, here's another mono pressing of All Summer Long. It's an Analog Production pressing. Plays fabulous. Back to and now that's all the Beach Boys. Now we got some Beatles. Here's a 1981 Analog Production pressing of the early Please Please Me, Love Me Do era of the Beatles, featuring Tony Sheridan. Older recordings when they were in Hamburg. On Pickwick, Please Please Me, 2014 mono UK pressing. Another 2014 mono pressing of With the Beatles in mono. My only copy of this album still. A UK mono 2014 mono pressing of Hard Day's Night. A UK 2014 mono pressing of Beatles for Sale. And same with Help, another from the 2014 box set. This is now out of print. These are in still great shape, so I'm happy about that, to say the least. A UK 2014 mono pressing of Rubber Soul. Very happy to have this album. And I'm just I gotta go somewhere soon, so I'm just jumping faster on this album collection review. Here's a UK mono 2014 mono pressing of Revolver. Very happy to own this. With the flipbacks, which is awesome. Here's a UK stereo second pressing, this is actual first pressing of Collection of Beatles Oldies with the flipbacks. Second variation. I would show you, but it would take a long time. A 2014 mono pressing of Sgt. Pepper's in mono. And then we got a few more albums after that, and then we'll be done. A 1974 UK stereo pressing of Yellow Submarine with the shrink wrap still on it. It's in mint shape. And finally, the last 2014 mono pressing is the White Album here. It's a top loader, like the first pressing. It's in mono. And now here are some actual originals. Here's a UK stereo first pressing of Abbey Road in very good plus condition. Very proud of owning this. I'll show you this one. Here's the record. First pressing. Side 2 does not credit Her Majesty, so that indicates it's a first pressing. And the jacket is laminated too, which is really nice. Very happy to own this. Alright. We're almost done here, guys. We're almost done. A UK stereo first pressing of Let It Be. This is a first pressing. Second variation, it has the dark green Apple label on the back. It's laminated all the way on the whole record jacket, but the actual label itself is a UK first pressing. I showed you this in my update. Check that out if you want to know more detail. And finally, two more albums. The last two Beatle albums I'm going to show you. And here's a original UK first pressing of the Red Album, 1962 to 1966. It's laminated, and it's a gatefold. It's in excellent shape. Again, I showed you that. And here's the 2014 pressing reissue of the Blue Album from 67 to 1970. This one's also laminated too, which is nice. And that concludes my whole vinyl collection. So I hope you guys enjoyed this trilogy of my album collection. Like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye-bye.